So previously we created a network where we just had two computers, Alice talking to Bob. But what if we want more computers? Here's where we want network switches. So network switches, they're the backbone of local area networks. Like on a floor of a business, all the PCs, printers are probably connecting via wired connections into a closet somewhere where there is a network switch. So I'm gonna, again, skip down. Let you read a little bit. All right, so we have Packet Tracer open and we're gonna add some hardware. We're gonna need 3 PCs, Alice, Bob, and we'll add Eve. So I've got Packet Tracer open. To add a PC, I'm going to go to the End Devices category, the End Devices subcategory. I'm just gonna drag 3 PCs up there. Doesn't matter what they're labeled right now. Yours might be 0, 1, 2, mine are 2, 3, 4. That's totally fine. So I'm going to change the labels to Alice, Bob, and Eve. Now we need to give them IP addresses and subnet masks. So we remember how to do that, but we can do that one by one. We're going to go to the config tab. I'm going to choose fast Ethernet. So what is Alice's? Alice should be 192.168.1.25. Hit tab, fills it in for me. No save button. I can just close Alice. I'm going to click on Bob. Config, fast Ethernet. Bob's IP address should be 192.168.1.50. Hit tab, it'll fill in the subnet mask that I want. I like that subnet mask for Bob. And I'm going to go to Eve, config, fast Ethernet 0, 192.168.1.75. Whoops, I put that in the IPv6. Sorry about that. 192.168.1.75. Hit tab. Good to go. All right. I've got my 3 PCs, their IP addresses and subnet masks are set just fine. How are we going to connect them though? Because they only have one Ethernet connection, so I can't connect Alice directly to Bob and directly to Eve at the same time. We need an intermediary device. That will be our switch. So I'm going to click on the Network Devices main category and the Switches subcategory. And I'm going to drag this wonderful 2960 switch onto my workspace. So this switch lets me connect a couple dozen different devices to it so that they can all communicate with each other. So I am going to cable them next. We need the connections category. So that's that lightning bolt. And a bunch of different cables. When we went to device, we use this dashed black line. That's the crossover cable. When we're connecting to a switch, we have to use this copper straight through cable. In the real world, this copper straight through is what you're going to be using 99.9% of the time. Packet Tracer just enforces some, some standards that older hardware rely on. Anyway, we're going to use that solid black line, the copper straight through. This is our Ethernet cable. So I'm going to click on Alice. Alice only has one Ethernet interface I can plug into, so that's the one I'm going to connect it to. Then I'm going to click on the switch, and the switch has a bunch of different places that I can connect this to. So it's got a lot of connections. So I'm going to click on the switch, and then it's going to ask me, well, which one of these interfaces do I want? I'm going to choose fast Ethernet 0/1 for Alice. Does it really matter? No, not in this case. So I'll connect Bob to 2. So I'll use that straight black line. Fast Ethernet 0 from Bob to the switch, and I'm going to notice that fast Ethernet 0/1 disappeared because Alice is already taking it. So for Bob, I'm going to select number 2 at the top, fast Ethernet 0/2. Do that again for Eve. So I'm going to click on Eve, connect that cable to her fast Ethernet 0, and connect her to the switch. Connect her to that 3 there, the third one. If I just click on the switch just for giggles, on the physical tab, we can see this is what it would look like. So we can see a bunch of places where we can plug in those cables. This physical view doesn't show what's currently plugged in because we basically just connected Alice to 1, Bob to 2, and Eve to 3. The rest are empty for now, and that's fine. But that's what a switch would look like. Okay, so we've got them connected. You can arrange them however you want. It doesn't really matter. Technically in Packet Tracer, it can enforce the distance. So Ethernet cables, the standard Ethernet cable, general rule of thumb, can go 100 meters before your connection starts to die. We could space these out really, really far, and Packet Tracer could, start getting grumpy at us because our cable is too long, but we don't really have to worry about that. Doesn't really matter that much how you've got these arranged. Arrange it however you like. So let's verify connectivity. Can Eve communicate with both Alice and Bob? So I'm going to click on Eve, and we're going to go to the desktop tab. That's our simulated desktop environment. And I'm going to go to the command prompt, where we can run our ping command. Ping 192.168.1.25. So that's Alice's IP address. So can Alice communicate with Eve? Yes. Yes, she can. I'm going to hit the up arrow key because I'm lazy. And it's going to fill in that last command for me. I'm just going to delete the 25 and change it to 50. And hit enter. And can I talk to Bob? Yes, I get a reply. 100% success, 0% loss. So that's good. So our network has grown from a 2-computer network where we just had Alice and Bob directly connected with a network cable. Now we've introduced the network switch, which allows multiple devices to connect. All these pings should be successful. If they weren't, double check your IP addresses. You might have had a typo. It's one of the most common things I see is like 129.168 or 192.169.1.50. So if you're having a problem with these, go ahead and double check those IP addresses, because if the IP addresses are set, you've got the switch and all your lights are green, everything should work just fine. But that is our successful connectivity test when using a network switch.